What's going on, everybody? Byrdman here with another Wonderlands video, and it's so awesome to finally get to say Wonderlands video. Today I'm going to be doing a class overview of the Stabbomancer. Now, thanks to Gearbox and 2K for giving me a little bit of early access. Test this out and give my feedback. I think this is an absolute awesome character, and I'm really excited to kind of share the skill tree and exactly how you should play with this character. Now, know this video is sponsored by G Fuel. I have been sponsored by them for a little bit here, and they're super awesome. Use code BYRD, BYRD, at checkout for 10% off. Now, make sure you also follow me on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Byrdman778. I'm going to be covering a lot of Wonderlands here soon, so just make sure you're stopping on by. Now, let's hop right on into the class breakdown. So going over the Stabbomancer skill tree, essentially first off, each class is going to have their own class feat. This is going to be kind of how they are individualized and give their own bonuses that will be applicable for whenever you do your multi-classing. For the Stabbomancer, that's going to be in critical hit chance. You're actually going to get a 30% boost. So I actually think this is going to be a really good class for things like the Berserker and the Clawbringer, where essentially you don't have as much critical hit damage. I'm going to just assume, that's me just assuming, and then having the extra melee damage from this tree will be really helpful for them. Now, going down to the action skills themselves, we have Ghost Blade and from the shadows. First off, with Ghost Blade, it reads, the Fate Maker throws out a Ghost Blade which spins in place, dealing melee damage periodically to nearby enemies based on the Fate Bringer's equipped melee weapon. Now, this is just really great because each one of the melee weapons has their own kind of set rules to it and everything like that. So that fact that that's applicable to the Ghost Blade is really cool. I had one with the Vampire ability where it's essentially going to be lifesteal, and whenever my Ghost Blade would hit somebody, it would start lifestealing, giving me energy. So that's just really awesome. It also works with other skills where, let's say, inflicting an enemy with 3 arrows increases your melee damage, will increase that as well. So again, the fact that melee damage is so like put in front of our faces here and it's applicable with Ghost Blade is really awesome. It also reads pressing G, which that's gonna be different for if you're on controller or whatever. While Ghost Blade's active, causes it to teleport to targeted location and reduce the remaining duration by a small %. So this is just really cool just because you're able to move it around the battlefield now. It will be at a cost, but at the same time, I think it's personally worth it. And the second one is from the shadows. The Fate Maker enters stealth, turning invisible. While in stealth, all damage dealt is automatically a critical hit, but critical hits deal reduced damage. Now, this is very much the same kind of like how Flack had his skill tree. I think we're gonna be able to find some pretty cool critical hit chance increases throughout the skill tree as well. Now, looking at the actual skills themselves, we're going to go in from left to right, from the top tier all the way down to the bottom. And tier 1, we have Arsenal. Melee damage is increased, spell damage increased, gun damage is increased, and that goes up to 5 times. We have Haste. Melee attack speed is increased, and movement speed is increased. And when the Fate Maker casts a spell, the bonus is doubled for a duration. So I actually really like this just for the fact that you can be able to chain maybe a higher use spells and maybe get like a faster cooldown on that, just so you're able to constantly stay up in speed and attack damage. And then finally, in the potent poisons, status effect damage and status effect duration is both increased by, and that goes up to 5 times. Going down to tier 2, we have Follow Up. Whenever a Fate Maker deals gun damage to an enemy, the Fate Maker's next melee attack deals increased damage. This effect can stack. The melee attacks consume all stacks. It goes up to 3 times. Now, I really like this just for the fact that it kind of incentivizes kind of doing that flow of combat. I've always kind of enjoyed that in different like skill trees in Borderlands itself. So having something like this is really awesome to me. Going to the middle tree though, we have Swift Death. While moving, the Fate Maker gains increased damage dealt. The faster the move, the greater these bonuses. This is exactly like Violent Momentum, Violent Speed on Zane's tree from Borderlands 3. You definitely want to be comboing different speed abilities, so haste with this as well, just for the fact that it's going to make you do even more damage. And it goes up to 5 times. And then finally on the end, Exploit their weakness. Whenever Fate Maker applies a status effect to an enemy, the affected enemy takes increased damage from all sources for its duration. So this is just really interesting just for the fact that applying a status effect to someone is just going to make them take more damage all around. Whether that's going to be applicable for, you know, melee, we'll see. I haven't been able to like test this out well enough to really give you a good idea, but I will say, at least on face value, this seems pretty interesting. Going down to tier 3 on the far left, we're going to have Nimble Fingers. Whenever the Fate Maker deals melee damage, the fire rate and spell damage are increased for a duration. So that's always great because you just have to just swing and then hit somebody, and then congrats, you have more damage and fire rate. We really like that. In the middle, we have Shadow Step Kill Skill, which again, we love having all these kill skills throughout each one of the trees. The Fate Maker's next melee attack is guaranteeing critical hit for a short duration. So, and the duration stays at 6, so that's just kind of nice for the fact that we're able to like keep that up a little bit longer. In tier 4, we have sneak attack, critical hit damage is increased. In the middle, elusive, the Fate Maker can now shoot and sprint at the same time. The Fate Maker gains a chance to evade incoming damage while moving. The faster they move, the greater the bonus. So again, kind of flowing into the swift death and the haste as well. I kind of enjoy this now. I know that we're at 40, like level 40 for this cap, so I'm not really sure how many points we're going to be able to put into like one singular tree and also get enough out of maybe a multi-class. So this might be like an interesting thing, we'll see, but at least for now, again, face value, it seems pretty interesting. And then on the far right, we have Contagion. Whenever a Fate Maker applies a status effect, there's a chance it spreads to nearby enemies. If no enemies are nearby, apply a different random status effect to the initial enemy instead. So again, kind of interesting status effects, but I just feel like this one won't be as applicable unless like maybe you're trying to combo with like some dark magic to get some healing. Going down in tier 5, we have 1,000 cuts. Critical hits grant increased damage dealt for a duration. And this effect can stack a melee critical hits grant additional stacks. So again, more melee, more critting. I think this is going to be huge for like the Clawbringer and the Berserker. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out on this tree. And then Alchemical Agent. Melee critical hits apply a random status effect, which interesting. Not really sure I need that, but I mean, if it can be something like dark magic where I'm going to get healing from it, get like kind of a vampire effect, that'd be really neat. And then finally for the Capstone, Executioner's Blade Gun spell, critical hits have a chance to create an Eternal Blade above the target that will impale them after a short delay. Eternal Blade deals melee damage based on the Fate Maker's equipped melee weapon. Again, really cool Capstone. The fact that it's just going to do this big old attack on an enemy is pretty interesting. But at the same time, again, I feel as though this tree all around is going to be better as kind of a combo with something else, just so you're able to get extra melee damage and critical hit chances rather than just being like looking at this character and be like, man, I want all these things. Thanks so much for stopping by the video. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. I'm so freaking excited to be playing Wonderlands here soon. And again, big thanks to Gearbox and 2K for giving me early access to try this out. I think this is going to be a really great class to kind of combo with other classes that you're already probably going to pick anyway. So definitely just be on the lookout for some builds I'm going to be putting out here soon. And make sure to follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Byrdman778. Use the code BIRD at G Fuel checkout. Guys, thank you so much. Hope you have a great night, day, where it may be.